This is the end.
Hey there, nomads of lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home.
Yes, we are.
And today we're going to discuss the final episode
Tears.
of The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 8, or Chapter 16, as we've come to love. We're going to discuss some things we liked, some things we didn't like, some more things we liked, and then finally wrap it all together with the future of these characters that we've come to love that are in this series. So let's get started. First off, we liked. We thought it was okay. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so Dr. Pershing.
Jeez. Gotcha.
Right. So there's a really cool scene at the beginning. Dr. Pershing's in this Lambda shuttle being chased by another one of our favorites. And there's an interesting co-pilot, whatever he is. I thought it was played very well. It's very dark, very different than a lot of other like stormtrooper-esque type people that have been in any Star Wars. So anyway, love that little scene. Yeah. What was the next thing we liked?
So we liked Boba Fett and that whole fight scene, and you know they had their plan, which we didn't love their plan. We may mention some stuff about that later, but where Boba Fett was supposed to be a diversion, basically chasing him in and fighting. That was really cool. There was a cool scene with the TIE fighter shooting out the front of the ship. That was really neat. It was all really well shot.
Yeah, all of the space flying parts were really cool.
Yeah, Boba Fett was cool. It was disappointing that he was not in the episode more, but understandable. The team would have been even more over the top powerful. Yeah. But yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Continuing on with the whole fighting thing, Cara Dune, as always, was extraordinarily awesome.
Yes, she was.
She had a little scene that was really fun that we liked, where she was out of ammo with her blasters.
It was
jammed. Yeah, something.
Whatever that means.
She picked it up, turned it around, and started smacking stormtroopers with it, and it was very comical.
Yeah, and then the elevator where she's trying to get it to work, and Bo-Katan's like, "You sure you don't need any help? I got this." It was very good. It was hilarious. It was very well done. So, those are some of the things we like. We're not done talking about things we like. Those aren't even our favorite things. No. But before we talk about the best things about this episode, because we're going to talk about those, and obviously, if you're in this far, you already know this is spoiler filled. If you didn't realize that at first and your life is already ruined, sorry.
Stop it and go watch.
Yeah. But if you have already seen this episode, you know probably what the best parts are, and we're going to talk about those soon. We wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about a few of the things that we didn't like so much, because even though there was some great things in this episode, there were some things that we didn't love. The first thing that we want to talk about that was negative was the fact that overall, as this episode played out, it was extremely predictable. I mean, from the moment they landed on the ship, I knew that Moff Gideon was going to be in the room or right outside the door, basically right where Grogu was going to be. I mean, that was obvious. We knew that they were going to plow through the stormtroopers with little to no trouble. It was going to, and there was going to be this showdown. It was obvious that Mando was going to be the one that was going to fight Moff Gideon, because our other stupid thing that we're going to footnote in here was his plan for him to go by himself, because
I'm going by myself,
because inexplicableness is fun, I guess. So just the overall predictability of the episode was a negative. It's a common negative, but it was a negative for sure.
Also, something else we have discussed, and if you've been with us on the last few reviews / prediction episodes that we've done, you already know probably about this, but we talked about how we felt that the ending was going to be very anticlimactic unless they did a few things. And they didn't do any of those things, which is fine. We're not trying to be those fanboys. They didn't do what we thought they should do.
Right.
Didn't have anything to do with that. It was very anticlimactic, and it was because of the things we've already talked about, and because there wasn't...
more about the fight and
Yeah,
stuff,
yes.
like the battle part of
The
it
battle portion of the ending
was
so
anticlimactic. Yes.
because because there was they
Mm-hmm.
basically melted through all these stormtroopers, and then there's some dark troopers, and it's looking really grim, and then
we fight one.
we fight one out of all
Which
of
was
them,
easy.
and then Luke comes in and melts through all of them like they're
Mhm.
butter as well. So anyway, kind of anticlimactic. The Moff Gideon scene, anticlimactic. I was wanting more. With that said, it was still a great episode.
There were some fun fight moments. And
Yeah, there
some
was.
things.
There was some really cool things with the Darksaber and hitting on the I can never remember the metal, what it's called.
Beskar.
The Beskar, yeah.
Yeah.
The sound the Beskar made. I love
Well,
that.
the sound
throughout
the
whole,
Darksaber, man. We haven't hardly
That
talked
too.
about that too.
That
The
too.
unique Darksaber
that
sound
too.
is
Yeah.
awesome.
So there was some really cool things. So what was the final thing that was
So
little
the
hard.
last thing that we want to talk about that we didn't love about this episode, this has been talked about quite a bit. Actually, I've seen a lot of people talking about this one and arguing about it and other things, was Luke's CG. It was particularly unfortunate, and it wasn't very good. I think that's relatively objective. The fact that it didn't look very good. I don't think anybody would argue that his CG was great. Now, you could argue whether that mattered, whether you cared, whether that took you out of the scene. But the last thing I just said is for us, the most important thing about it is it wasn't very good, and it took you out of that scene.
And that scene was the very most important scene
Exactly.
of the whole entire series.
And that leads us into some of our favorite things. Exactly. Yeah.
So awesome things. Luke Skywalker. He was
Mhm.
freaking phenomenal. It was so cool to see the Luke Skywalker, as we've said many times, that we wanted.
Right.
The Luke Skywalker is not what you needed, but what we wanted. Anyway, sorry. So, it was great to see a Luke Skywalker that was post Return of the Jedi,
Mhm. Yeah.
and pre terrible Luke Skywalker of end of episode 7, beginning of episode 8. It's cool to see young Luke Skywalker who was very flashy and just an awesome
Kick butt dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was basically exactly like we talked about with Boba back in
Yes.
episode 6.
Yeah.
Episode 6, where Boba comes back. It was just glorious. It was like, thank you, Jesus, that we finally get to see this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really awesome. The next thing that we liked was R2-D2 showing up. Honestly, especially because of the kind of letdown of the CG, R2 walking into the room was almost more exciting as far as a walk-in part, not the fighting, of course, but the walk-in part was almost more exciting than Luke walking in. It was so fun. Cool. It was really cool. It felt even more connected to everything else in the wider Star Wars universe, which this season has been doing slowly but surely more and more and more. It was all the moment with little Grogu looking at the new shiny thing and wondering whether there was anything shiny he could eat. Well, on R2 was really cute and fun, and we liked that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Awesome. So finally, the greatest scene, in our opinion, of the whole entire season, maybe even series up until this point.
For sure, the episode.
yeah, definitely in the episode. Yeah, it was the thing we've been leading up to the whole time, which was the connection between the Grogu and Din Djarin and their father-son family thing that's been reiterated over and over and over throughout the season. It was awesome. It was an awesome scene. I heard Shawn tell me in a few other places that I saw that people have been talking about the fact that they cried through it. Shawn didn't cry, but seen other people cry, and I didn't cry either. But we both talked about the fact that we do cry in things, and it was a very touching moment. It was taken away from by the weird Luke CGI, but the phrase that was said was really cool, because it was Din Djarin's like, I don't think he wants to go with you, and he's like, no, he's waiting on your permission, because basically you're dad at this point. And it was really cool. Him touching his face, the whole mask coming off and him touching his face and everything. It was awesome. Little tiny side note that I have to say, whether or not you liked last episode,
episode 7,
episode 7, it could have built in one camp. It either built on, or another camp it took away from this final scene with the mask. But either way, it was awesome to see him finally take that mask off, finally step away from what he's known his whole life and what he's thought ever since he was taken under wing with the Mandalorians. So awesome
Super
episode.
awesome.
Let's get started talking about the things that are upcoming, because it's pretty exciting.
So this season is a springboard to lots of stuff. So at this point, this being the end, the last episode of this season, our predictions have to include a few things that are not strictly The Mandalorian. So the biggest announcements recently is that we're getting, for sure, 2 new shows, and end up being 3 total shows that are kind of all connected, kind of like they did with some of the Marvel stuff on Netflix back in the day, but hopefully even better than that. But we've already got the Mandalorian. We'll talk some more about that at the end here in a bit. But we're going to get a show that's all we really know about is going to be titled Rangers of the New Republic. So our hope and our prediction and our hope with that show springing off of the Mandalorian is that is going to be the Cara Dune show that we absolutely would love to see. We have absolutely loved Cara Dune's character. She's amazing. We both have really enjoyed. We both really like Gina Carano, the human as well. But more importantly, really and truly, more importantly than Outlook and politics and everything else, we really, really like Cara Dune, the character that Gina Carano plays. And so hopefully that'll be a show where she gets to be in and be able to kick some more butt and be able to smash more stormtroopers or whatever in the face or whatever else. So we're super excited about that coming down the pipe.
All right. So if you didn't hear and you didn't see anything, you didn't watch past, because a lot of people, as soon as the credits come up, okay, I'm done. And I understand. But if you were fortunate enough to realize or hear from somebody, there was an ending scene that was past the end of past the credits, or at least the first portion.
If you didn't see that, pause and come back.
That's right. Go watch it real quick. So what that revealed was another show or series or mini series or whatever, we don't know.
Nope.
But it is called The Book of Boba Fett. So super excited because we both have stressed a lot that episode 6 was so awesome.
So awesome.
So awesome to see him come back and
probably
and
my
fight.
favorite of this season. I don't know. There was so many good ones.
I would have to between that. I would be between. I don't know.
Well, let's say we'll do a tier ranking video or something later.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, super cool, very short. We don't really know much about it, but to see Boba Fett sitting
awesome
on sitting on a throne of someone who is very near and dear to his heart, maybe. And it's super awesome. Anyway, it's called The Book of Boba Fett, and this brings me to a little point that we're not sure about. I believe one thing, Shawn believes another, so we'll talk about those briefly. My thought is that because it's called that and because of the typography of that specific set of words matching the chapter that comes up at the beginning of every single episode of Mandalorian, I think that this is going to either be basically season 3 of The Mandalorian. I think what's going to happen is probably we're going to see Boba Fett and none of Din Djarin and keep forgetting her name.
Fennec Shan.
No.
Cara Dune.
No, redhead.
Redhead. Bo-Katan.
We're going to get through all of them.
All the ladies that we saw.
So I don't think we're going to see any of Din Djarin or Bo-Katan for the next season, because what's going to happen is it's going to be replaced by the Boba Fett miniseries, whatever, at least for one season, and then eventually, probably in season 4 of The Mandalorian, we'll go back to see Din Djarin again. Something that kind of further cemented this to me was the fact that our friend Dave Filoni, whatever we want to call him, was played a part in Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And Avatar, as you know, was broken
Avatar
up into
the Last
books.
Airbender.
Avatar the Last Airbender. And it was broken up into books: the Book of Fire, the Book of Water, the Book of Air, etc. So that's what I think. What do you think, Shawn?
So I think that's possible, and I wouldn't be upset if that happened. I did think, and I still lean towards thinking that that's not going to happen, and it's not going to replace it. I think it's more likely that it's its own thing, that it's its own spin-off thing. There's been some discussion about whether it's going to be a new show, a new spin-off show. So we'll end up having 4 shows instead of 3 shows that are in this time frame space. There's been other people talking about it potentially being a mini series. I think the least possible is, or the least probable is its own spin-off show. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, by the time you actually watch this, we may have more information, because the number one thing that makes me think that that's not going to happen is, now it's Saturday right now, so it only released, this episode only dropped yesterday, so it may be, they may just giving time for people to watch the episode and whatever. But I would have expected that if that was going to happen and we were going to get a totally new show, they would have released on their Instagram or something at least a title card or something, kind of like what we had for Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic. Something that basically teased this is going to be a new show.
Yeah, this is.
So I think the most likely possibility that I've seen batted around is that this is going to be a mini series of some sort. Now, regardless, any of those options sound good to me.
Yeah.
They could all be really, really great.
Yeah.
I'm ready for some more Boba and Fennec.
Yeah.
They really stole this whole season for me. I would have loved to see them more, which gives credence to your theory.
Yeah.
And that could be cool.
Yep. So before we wrap this up, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below. Click the thumbs up or thumbs down, whichever one. But please give us a comment explaining what you like, what you don't like, whatever's going on. Give us thoughts, ideas, whatever you want to see. I think we're going to go from here, and we're going to start working a little more broad scope on just fantasy fiction thoughts that we have, and trying to explore a little bit of those ideas like we have a little bit in the past. But give us some more ideas, more thoughts that you would like to see.
We love feedback and conversations.
That's right. So to wrap it all up, the last big thing, well, there's kind of 2 things wrapped into one, but the last show we know about is
in this time frame.
Yes, is Ahsoka Tano. There is other shows too.
Yes, other Star Wars shows.
We haven't spent any time talking about those, but for time's sake, Ahsoka Tano. Super excited about that because she's one of my all-time favorite Jedis in the whole Star Wars franchise.
Would you like franchise with that?
So we don't know a lot about the show. We would assume that
Ahsoka's in
at least a portion of it would be her still looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. It may step back a little bit and go, I don't even know.
We don't even know for sure if she's found Ezra yet or anything
else.
Yeah,
we have no idea about, obviously, there's possibilities of Ezra coming in. There's possibilities of Sabine Wren being in it because they were last seen together. And then, of course, the Grand Admiral Thrawn stuff. We don't know what's going to happen, but there's a lot of cool things that could definitely come out of this show. And I hope that we get some of that. So to wrap that all up, what are we thinking about Grand Admiral Thrawn?
So Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be a big bad of some sort. He may be in the Ahsoka show, and it's just called Ahsoka, but he could be in Ahsoka, that show, as her big bad, and that is still possible. Where we're leaning right now is that that's false. That he is not going to be Ahsoka's primary antagonist for lots of reasons. One is that, Jonathan may disagree with me still. I don't know. We've talked about it 2 different ways. So and if he still does, he can chime in after. But one is he is the wrong bad guy for any individual Thrawn is much more big strokes. He's a commander. He's admiral, grand admiral. He's going to be the one that's in charge of a lot of stuff, and so it's more likely that he becomes the big bad of the Star Wars universe.
I don't think we've ever said this, but he's kind of the Palpatine that I wanted to see.
He's and he is cooler than Palpatine in some ways.
Exactly. He's what they said Palpatine ended up being, who was pulling the strings for all this time and all that. Grand Admiral Thrawn could definitely do that. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so cool about the idea that maybe he's not the big bad guy of Ahsoka, but yet maybe he brings together all of these shows that we just talked about, 3 or 4 shows, and kind of brings them all together in a crossover event at the very end to take him out.
Or even just take him on.
Or take him on, yeah, whatever. And maybe he's still alive after episode 9, and there's other things. There's all kinds of stuff. Super excited about that. Anything else you wanted to talk about with that?
Oh, I just that I would love to see. There's some speculation in small pockets that we may end up getting basically the Thrawn trilogy, the original Thrawn trilogy, cool. Some variation of, or a what's it called when you remake a song? A
remix?
No, whatever. A cover? No, I don't even know. I said the word earlier, but I don't remember what I said. But anyway, basically a variation, a spin on that story arc. And the more Jonathan and I think about it, the more we think that they could include almost everything in that. Now Roke is already dead and all that stuff, so that, which I'm not even going to talk about that because it'll be spoilers for that book series, which I think you could totally read and enjoy even if you don't watch all this stuff. But anyway, they could include almost everything from that. My number one, I don't know about whether it's Jonathan's number one request from that series that I think could go really, really well in canon, is the Jorus C'baoth character. The whole good Jedi gone dark and crazy and being manipulated and all this stuff, and his connection with Luke could be super, super cool. And it could explain a lot of things, a lot of some of the frustrating things in the sequel trilogy, specifically in The Last Jedi, with the grumpy Luke and Ben turning to the dark side and all that kind of stuff. They could totally solve that with the Jorus C'baoth character. It would be awesome. Don't know if they're going to do that, but it's very possible. They've brought all kinds of stuff from old expanded universe into reality. So I think that's about it.
So we hope that you enjoyed watching Mando, and this season has been awesome. And I hope that you also are enjoying the Star Wars universe where it's at this point. It's a whole lot better off than we were a couple years ago.
That's definitely true.
And so great outlook, lots of future possibilities that could be really cool. Cheers. Hope you have a good afternoon.
To more and better.